In this video, I quickly wanted to go over the recent patch for Dragonwilds. Now, this one's pretty simple, but it does introduce something that the player base has asked for a while. And then a little bit later on, we're going to go on to what to expect from the game, kind of go over the roadmap, kind of dive deep into the additional things that are going to come to the title through its early access period. So with the 0.72 update, the developers did take a break, so right on them. Good on them for taking, some time off. They launched a game in early access. They took a little bit of a break. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic. Let the player base get their hands on the title and start providing feedback for the developers, and that's exactly what they did. If you haven't, go to their Steam page and click the link. You guys will see it. It is on the Ashenfall update sheet. You guys will see that there's a link. Click this link for the feedback survey. I highly recommend you guys doing this. I did this as well as discussed a few things in the Discord and things like that with the developers. They have some interesting questions on here, and I think it's really going to help shape the game and shape where the game is going to go. They have a good roadmap, and I hope they stick to it and stick to the idea that this is a survival crafting game, an open world survival crafting game. So it seems like they're going that route, but the biggest thing that came from this update is they adjusted the range of events. Now, this is the haunted events as well as the warbands and Velgar's attacks overall. So for Gornfell raids, the goblin raid parties, as you guys know, they come in 2 waves. This has been adjusted and the cooldown has been increased from 2 in-game days to 4. So this is a pretty good adjustment. Now, there are actually a handful of these raids with different raid party compositions. So there are better elements to this raid system implemented in the game, but it was not working properly because, as you guys know, the raid parties come in, there's usually 2 archers and 3 melee enemies that'll come attack you, and they usually come in 2 different waves as long as you're in Gornfell. So the composition of these raids are actually going to shift a little bit. They actually will scale depending on what zone you're in, and they will also change. The enemy types will change, but it currently wasn't working in the title, so they've kind of updated this. They've also gave us a little bit more breathing room. Now, for the Gornfell base raids, there's a better grace period increase from 9 in-game days to 12, so this is good before the raids can even happen. Now, the chance for the raid has been decreased from 10% down to 5 every event tick. The cooldown has been increased from 2 days to 3.75 days. So this is a great adjustment. Next off, we have the Gornfell haunted events. These are the haunted events that you can see in Gornfell. I don't know if any of you guys have seen these or have had these occur. They probably have. You don't recognize them, but this is the chance for this occurring has been decreased from 10 to 5%, as well as increased from 1 day to 2.25 days. Now, another one of the big ones is the Velgar events, the dragon event, the dragon coming down and just absolutely obliterating you. It doesn't really do damage, which is interesting. I've had the raids, the raid parties destroy parts of my base. It takes them a while, but they do destroy usually a foundation. A quick tip for you guys, the raid parties will actually go for your bed. So wherever your bed is, that's where they're going to target. So if you have a base, you could put your bed a little bit further away from it, and they will focus that area. It's a good way to get the raids to be clustered in a small zone, so you can build a small box, put your bed in it, and the raid parties will go directly to that structure. But the Velgar meteor barrages have been reduced from 5 to 2 per meteor event, addressing the drift towards tedium as this event outstays its welcome. Poison breath event is now only poison breath strafing runs, so he's just going to strafe over you, dump poison breath in a linear line, and then leave. But this one for me is a big thing, and I'm going to be making a video pretty soon going over the things that I want added to the game. Now, there are a lot of things coming, and we're going to talk about those, but there are some things that I want them to adjust. One of them is they need to make Velgar's poison not go through structures. Now, it is pretty annoying. You can hide in a cave and it won't affect you, but it is pretty annoying. You build a base. One day I was sleeping, I completely got blasted by him, and I was just covered in all his poison. I got poison effect, and it's just annoying. It really, I understand the gameplay element to it, but overall it's just an annoying mechanic in my opinion. It needs to be adjusted, and the poison shouldn't be able to go through structures, but they're working on it. Now, they also had some general fixes. Hostile AI is no longer immune to bleed. This is amazing. So obviously the Vault Guardians who can't bleed because, well, what would they bleed? Blood runes? I mean, that would be actually good if they actually had runes pop out of them. But AI can now be affected by bleed, which is good because that is a mechanic on a lot of the builds that we are doing here as players. Multiple crash fixes. I've heard a lot of people losing their save due to crashes. I have encountered a little bit of stutters and hiccups there, but no crashes, luckily. A lot of freezes, a couple freezes here and there as well, but no crashes overall. I hope none of you guys have lost their save. If anyone's lost their save, put it down in the comments below, and we got to give them a lot of thumbs up because that would be terrible. I would hate to lose them. Knock on wood. Some holes in the map map have been fixed. So there were some holes, there were some areas that you can go. There's actually exploited areas. You can go to zones that are actually not in the early access yet. You can actually access them. All it is a field with trees, but those have been fixed. They've adjusted the XP balancing around purifying water. So when we purify water, we're actually going to be gaining more XP. A handful of localization issue errors have been fixed. A range of UI bugs have been fixed, including some errors and inconsistencies with item names. So a lot of the UI has been updated. That's great. You know, these things are very minor, but they make the game run better and run as intended. And these little small fixes really are going to adjust the way you view and the way the game plays visually. And a bunch of other fixes around crashes and general stability. We also do know they improved some of the bloom. They also improved, reduced the frequency and intensity of Velgar event, multiple events not triggering simultaneously anymore. Velgar and his goblin companion should give you some breathing room now, so they're not both going to attack at the same time. Quest awarding non-quest items can now be properly completed even if your inventory is full. So that's awesome. If you accidentally have a full inventory and you complete a quest that will give you an item, you will not lose it and it is completely fixed. So that's awesome. World fixes to some geometry and LODs that weren't looking quite right. So a big thing that I noticed when I first jumped in the game is the lighting, the light flare, the lens flare, as well as the bloom that came through the trees, off the ground, off water. It really was adjusted not properly. So this has been fixed. So this is a great visual fix as you're running around the forest, running around on water, whatever you're doing. A couple missing sound effects have been resolved. So some things that you do, you guys might hear some new music, some new sound effects while we're doing things, whether it's building, mining, crafting, whatever it may be. Spells should now have the description within the spell wheel. So that's great. Combat fixes where actions could happen without the animation actually occurring. The bedroll no longer glints as though it is a resource. This is awesome. I don't know why it did that. It didn't really bother me, but bed is a treasure, but it shouldn't be shimmering like one. So it's no longer going to shimmer. This is not that big of a deal. I didn't really care that it was shimmering, but they fixed that. Hostile AI will no longer be immune to bleed, as we went over. So they've done quite a bit with these 2 patches in the past couple days. More are going to come. These guys are now back in the office. They're back working on the game. Again, go onto the Steam page, look at these patch notes, click on the survey, because feedback, guys, for some of you guys who are not used to early access games, I really love early access titles and I love supporting the developers. You know, that's kind of how my channel was built off of, is just early access titles. And I like giving them the benefit of the doubt, and I like being honest with them. That's what they want. They want honesty. That's why they launched their game in early access. They could be sitting on it, letting it cook, letting the bun cook in the oven, and then release it as a full release. But they do early access because it's beneficial for them as the developers, for sure, but also it gets them to be able to build the game that the player base wants. So give them as much feedback as you can. I know I am going to. I'm going to be trying to get some communication with the developers hands-on. I really would love to do that. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I would love to do that. So drop down in the comments below some of the things that you would love to see in the game, some of the things that you would love to see fixed. The ones that have the most likes, I'm going to be making a video about it, and I'm also going to present it in their Discord. I'm going to write them an email. I'm going to contact them in any way I can to be able to get this information to them. You know, can I do it? I don't know, but I'm going to try my best, and you guys will see if it works. But if you enjoyed this video at all, this is kind of what we're going to be doing in between all my guides, my tutorials, my builds, and things like that. I have plenty of content coming out this weekend. Super excited about that. Some new things to look at that you guys haven't seen from the channel. We're also going to be going over all these updates for the game as these updates release, just so you guys can easily see it in video format and you don't need to read it. These patches are super small. Some of them are going to be massive, so I'm excited to go over it. You guys have been amazing. We have gained so much momentum on the channel here. You guys are absolutely killing it. The support you guys have given me has really lit a fire under my yaz to make more content and just progress further, and I can't thank you guys enough. Drop a like on this video, as it helps me and the channel grow. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and have a beautiful day.